Hey everyone, David Ryshpan here again on YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This video is a follow-up to the Move Love breakdown that I posted about 2 weeks ago. Thank you to everyone new who got to this channel through that video, all the new subscribers, all the new commenters, viewers. That video took off beyond any expectation I had, and I'm glad so many people got a lot out of it. There were a couple of really great questions in the comments that I wanted to respond to in this video. I did respond to them by text in the comments, but I thought putting them in video and audio form would help a lot of people out as well. So let's get into it. Ray J. Gold posted, "I'm new to soloing. Could you provide any help for how you made up your solo at the beginning of the video?" M. Dave 2141 asked, "Could you make a video about improvising over changing chords with different scales? Is there an easy way to learn that?" So I'm going to answer these two questions together because I think they're both asking the same thing, really. And it addresses a concept or various concepts that I've been talking about on this channel for months. I kind of address it in the Comping Concepts Part 5 video, the soloing video. I address it in the Level Up Your Improv by Playing Melodies video, which is the last one that came out, and also the How We Think When We Improvise video that came out a few months ago. But I'll try to summarize everything in the answer to this question, I hope. How am I going to phrase this, actually? I'm trying to move away from the phrase thinking about, or at least be more specific and particular in what I'm actually thinking about when I am in the act of performance and the act of improvising. And in the heat of the moment, I am not thinking about any scale. Of course, scales are something that I have under my fingers. Scales are something that I have practiced and that I know. But in the heat of the moment, while I'm improvising, I am not actively thinking about scales. What I am actively thinking about is trying to make melodies, trying to lock in with the rhythm section, trying to develop these ideas. My active thought process is a much bigger picture. But I understand the question of how do we get to the point where we can navigate complicated chord changes, changes that are moving through different key centers or maybe aren't harmonically related at all. I think that's the question that Ray and Dave are getting to. Less and less do I approach this music from a scalar type of philosophy. And scales are important to practice, important to have under your fingers for facility, and you need technique, you need facility to get around your instrument so that you can execute the ideas you want in your improvisation. Scales belong to the technique category. They are part and parcel of practicing your technique. Scales are not musical, which is maybe a harsh way to phrase it, but I don't think about scales when I'm trying to make music. In my response to Ray in the comments of the Move Love video, I outlined 3 ways, 3 methodologies I guess I was actively using or consciously using. When I went back and listened to the solo, I could analyze that these are the things I was, I guess, aware of or thinking of. So we're using a very common R&B chord progression in these examples. You may recognize it as What You Won't Do for Love or Just the Two of Us. It's the same progression for both of those tunes as well as many others. It is flat 6 major, 5 dominant, 1 minor, and 4 dominant. So we're in the key of F minor here. So that would be D flat major 7, C7 with various extensions and alterations, usually flat 9, and F minor 7 going to B flat 7, B flat 9, and then on the final turnaround, it's a 2-5 back to D flat. So E flat minor 7, A flat 7, landing on D flat major. The three different ways I was approaching both Move Love and this chord progression. One is to accentuate the common tone harmony, and to really recontextualize whatever note that is common throughout the progression. So in this particular example, the common note is A flat, and I will play a little mini solo that emphasizes A flat and all the different roles A flat takes in this progression. The second methodology is kind of the exact opposite, actually, and it's to highlight the notes that are changing between each chord. So, for example, when we go from D flat major to C7 flat 9, the most characteristic note there is the E natural, which the D flat major 9 doesn't have. It has an E flat. And then the biggest shift from those two chords is from E flat on the D flat major 7 to the E natural in the C7 chord. And then similarly, when we go from F minor 7 to B flat 7, the biggest anchor for our ears is going from the E flat, which is the minor 7 of F, and that wants to resolve down to the third of B flat, which is D. So I'm going to take another mini solo that reflects the changing notes between all of the chords. The third way of thinking about the harmony, which is, I think, where I differ from a lot of other educators and why I really don't think about scales, and this is what I think about instead. And this is why I made the 5-part Comping Concepts playlist series that'll be linked down in the description, by the way, if you haven't watched those videos yet. I'm not thinking about the scale so much as I'm thinking about my voicing. And guitarists talk about this a lot too. I've seen videos from Tim Pierce where he's targeting a chord shape on the neck, a triad shape on the neck. He's not really thinking about the scale, but he's seeing a triad shape. I get a lot of my ideas from guitar players on YouTube. So one chord I glossed over in the Move Love breakdown because Glasper and the band don't always play it, but when they go back to the top, when they go back to B flat major, they sometimes precede it by an F7 altered. And my F7 altered voicing in this case is A, which is the third, D flat, which is the sharp 5 or flat 13, E flat, which is the 7, and G sharp or A flat, which is the sharp 9. And I also have F, which is my bass note. So just from there, looking at that and kind of, if you take the voicing and kind of think of it as a physical thing that you can inspect from different angles, right? So in that voicing, I see a D flat triad. Now there's various scales I can use, different scales I can use that have F, that have F7, but also have a D flat triad. But importantly, I'm not thinking about the scale. I'm thinking about my voicing. So then I can flip between all of the different scales that share all of those notes, whether it's altered or fifth mode harmonic minor or any of those things. In the heat of the moment, in the act of improvising, I am not thinking about the scale or the mode. I can't highlight that enough. I have practiced in my practice all of those modes, all of those scales. They're under my fingers. I can access them at a moment's notice. I can access them whenever I need to, and they become just a sound that I hear or a sound that I reach for. So the scales are in my practice. The scales are my vocabulary, my words, my grammar. I'm thinking about the idea I want to communicate, and I'm using the words and using the grammar and using the syntax in order to communicate that idea. I hope that analogy clarifies it. So here's a third example where I am using notes that are drawn from my left hand voicings. .360 Sun commented, seems like an intermediate or advanced technique. Beautiful song choice. Got anything for beginners? First of all, thank you for the comment. And I agree, it's an amazing tune. That's why I broke it down in that other video. I would just zoom out and say that it's not the technique that's intermediate or advanced. It's the song that's maybe intermediate or advanced. It definitely moves to a lot of places harmonically. There are a lot of chords in that tune. So it might be the example that's intermediate or advanced, but the skill, the technique, the ability to hear two notes as an interval and to be able to hear the other part of the interval in your mind's ear when you're only given one note, or if you're creating it yourself, the example that I gave of you're composing something, you get an idea, you sing it into your phone. Do you know what the harmony you were hearing in your head was when you're just singing one single monophonic line into your phone? So that skill is not intermediate or advanced. That skill is across all skill levels. So if the example of Move Love is too advanced, first of all, I think you should work towards things that are a little bit out of your ability at the present time. That's why we practice. That's how we try to get better. But if Move Love is too advanced for you, then take a tune that's simpler, something like What You Won't Do for Love or Just the Two of Us, a tune that has less chords or chords that repeat more frequently. So if I take the example of this chord progression that we're using, and I'm going to use the common tone. I'm going to use the common tone of A flat. Right? So really get to feel and hear and sing and understand the different ways that A flat resonates against those bass notes. So I hope that clarifies some of the questions that came up in the Move Love video. Once again, thank you so much for your attention, your interest, your arrival to my little corner of the internet. It's amazing to see people getting results, getting inspiration out of anything that I post. If you haven't done so already, please click like and subscribe. It really, really does help the channel. The past couple of weeks have been increased proof of that. I am available for private lessons over Zoom. And if you are in the Montreal area, I am available for private lessons in person. You can DM me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Ryshpan Music. I'm going to play a little bit more over this progression using all of these skills, all of these ideas, all of these concepts. My name's David Ryshpan. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.